Clear prop.
Stinson Tower, Sting 234 Yankee Papa holding short at 1 forward Alpha.
234 Yankee Papa, Stinson Tower, runway 14, clear for takeoff and to departure, make left traffic. And follow a Piper Arch a mile southeast of the airport on the left crosswind.
Clear for takeoff 14 left traffic, and I'll be looking for the Piper traffic for Yankee Papa.
Today was actually an exciting day for me. It's been about 7 weeks now since my plane has had a bunch of electrical problems, and I finally got most of them worked out. I was able to start it up and run it a few days ago, and unfortunately the oil pressure sensor was reading 0. So I ordered a new oil pressure sensor. I put that in last night, and the oil pressure is reading appropriately. Of course, I really wanted to take it flying after the oil pressure was reading appropriately, but I did have the sense to not go for the first flight since all this stuff has gone bad when it was 7 o'clock at night and dark outside, and so I waited until today. So today was a perfect day. Went to the airport. Wind was pretty much calm. There were no clouds in the sky. Fired everything up. Everything looked good. There's still a couple little problems that I was noticing here and there. So the compass heading on both displays was actually off, and I was able afterwards to do a calibration for the GRT display on the right, and so that compass should be reading right now. The TrueTrack, I was also able to do some adjustments on it, and so that compass will hopefully read correctly. Unfortunately, the TrueTrack is saying no GPS source, and so the GRT is getting the signal from the GPS via the serial connection. There's a wire that runs from the GPS and it splits and it goes to both displays, and the GRT on the right is getting that GPS signal, and the TrueTrack on the left is not getting that GPS signal. And I didn't touch any of the wiring. It should have been a straight swap, one-for-one swap, and so I'm going to have to troubleshoot that a little bit more. The next time I go to the airport, I'll probably take my voltmeter with me and test continuity of the wire as it splits, going to the display on the left and then at the pin on the connector itself, and see if there's continuity between that, or if something kind of shorted a wire, caused some break in the wire, and potentially that's why I'm not getting GPS signal to it. So then as a result, the display on the left is reverting to its own internal gyro instead of using the heading from the GPS and what it's tracking that I'm actually moving. So couple little things here and there. The altitude was actually way off on the TrueTrack display when I would set the altimeter to the same barometric setting on both sides. The display on the left was off by about 500 feet, and from what I've looked, there's not a way that I can see to calibrate that. So I've reached out to Mark at Sport Air and waiting to hear back from him and see if there's some way to calibrate this or what can be done about that. One other thing, the cylinder head temperatures. There's 2 cylinder head temperature probes. There's one on cylinder 2 and one on cylinder 4. And those are just brass temperature fittings. They work for oil temperature, coolant temperature, head temperature, air temperature, any of them. So they're pretty universal. And so one of them is not reading at all, it's just saying 0, and the other one is not reading correctly because it's saying that the cylinder head temperature, let's say it's like 130 degrees, then as I advance my RPMs and the engine gets hotter, it's actually reading a lower value. It's saying it's like 75 degrees, and I know that that's not right. So I have 2 new cylinder head temperature probes on the way, and they should be here this week. Other than that, at least the test flight today went really well. I did about 6 touch and goes, and everything pretty much went as planned or as expected. The plane is definitely flyable, at least from what I would say is a safety perspective and from a running well perspective. And so I am basically just going to do these few last things, see if I can get everything tied up. One thing that I didn't get to do today that I really wanted to was I did not get a chance to test the autopilot. So both autopilot servos were replaced, and while they turn on and they hold and they go the proper direction when I'm sitting on the ground in the hangar, if I turn the compass heading or if I adjust the altitude, they do move the appropriate direction. But just doing pattern work today, I really didn't get a chance to test them out and make sure that they're actually working and that they'll turn for me or they'll hold my altitude. So that's one other thing that I do need to test. But other than that, I was pleasantly surprised. I've had some discussions with friends and they're like, oh, you're going to keep finding stuff wrong with it. And yeah, sure enough, I found more stuff today. And once I get those fixed, I'm sure I'll find a few more things the next time I take it up. And hopefully this will be less and less until everything gets back to the way that it was before. So yeah, I'm excited that I was able to fly today. It was a beautiful day, and any day for flying is a great day. So I'm glad that I was able to do that, and then went back to the hangar and continued working on things in the meantime. So yeah, excited that Yankee Papa's back in the air, and definitely will be flying a lot more in the near future.